New at 3, Memphis Mayor Paul Young and other city leaders are responding after FBI Director Kash Patel called the city earlier this month the homicide capital of the United States. Now the FBI says it's sending a task force to the city. WRG's Alex Coleman recently had a chance to catch up with Tennessee State Representative Jesse Chisholm, who shares his opinion on that task force. Plus, he talks about new state laws he worked on this legislative session.
I'm always cautious when people outside of Memphis, whether it be federal or state, comes into Memphis to dictate how Memphis does things. However, I do understand that our citizens are quite concerned about things that we've been seeing on the news and things that we've been seeing in our communities. So I think the first thing we have to do is make sure that our neighborhoods are safe. So for a short period of time, this may be in favor of the thoughts of people in Memphis.
Because if anybody knows about the problems we're having here or the issues we're having here with crime, I know you are very in touch with a lot of folks here in this community and your home. From a state level, from being a state lawmaker, is there anything we can do on that side of it to kind of beef things up to help reduce this crime problem?
Well, I think we have to draw a line in the sand, so to speak. We do have to be hard on those that are scaring our community. And some of the lower level things, we may have to be a little bit more lenient on those things. I think we need to come really hard at those criminals who are, murdering, robbing, scaring the daylight out of our people in Memphis.
Mm-hmm. Can this be done in a way that can really make a difference, though?
I believe that it can. Memphis is not the first city to have problems with crime, and we're not the last. But I do think we have people in place and people who are coming that can help us put things back on the right track.
Let's talk about some other legislation I know that you've been working on that may really draw a lot of attention. This one involves a kind of a crackdown on revenge porn. Mm-hmm. Why that? How did that come to your attention? Why do you feel something was needed?
Yeah, so it was brought to my attention by the Memphis Police Department and others because, we've seen instances where a couple, they make content that's supposed to stay between them two, and someone else shares that content. And, we live in a social media world now, and those things are going viral. So we're just trying to put something in place to protect those parties from having things exposed without their consent.
So how does that protection work, or how do you hope it will play out to make sure that you protect people, especially when it comes to their privacy?
Right. Well, currently we have things in place to protect those parties if a participating party distributes that content. But if a third party distributes it, we didn't have anything in place for that third party. So now we put that third party in place so that anyone that shares information without consent, they're under that code.
Another matter recently that's caught a lot of headlines in this city, and the state seem to have gotten involved as well, the future of Memphis Shelby County schools. I know some members of the clergy hope to work with some local lawmakers like yourself to maybe kind of come up with a plan to say, listen, we can improve our schools. They don't need to be taken over, or there doesn't need to be state intervention. What are your hopes there?
Well, I hope that a plan that's palatable comes into play, because Memphis, we have, despite of recent news, we have a great school system. And we have great people that work in our school system, and we have great students in our school system. And I think that we can handle those things internally. I think it's going to take a lot of people putting egos in their pocket. It's going to take a lot of dialogue and a lot of work, but it can be done. And I believe that if given a proper amount of time, I think this can get done. Can we show, though, your colleagues that there is accountability when it comes to our school board and our schools, making sure that our students are improving and achieving? Well, we do want to put some accountability measures in place. We do want to put guardrails in place so that whoever's in office and whoever's running our schools have the students in mind. So what that looks like as of right now, there's a lot of dialogue going on about it, but again, that can get done.
I know another issue that has really grabbed your attention has been some of the job cuts, the Tennessee Human Rights Commission. What's that all about?
So with the move of sending the Human Rights Commission to the Attorney General's office, I fought the legislation from the beginning anyway, but since it's passed, well, when it was going through the committee process, there were certain things that were told to us that we expect them to hold true to, which is keeping those people who's working on those cases with the Human Rights Commission, that they keep their jobs and they complete many of the cases that they're currently having. But this move, it makes it seem as though that they had no intention on keeping the people nor the caseload that these people had.
So, Representative, what is this move really about? Is it politics? Well, what do you think it's about?
I think it's politics. I think it's a move to dismantle not only the Human Rights Commission, but the ability to fight against discrimination.
A lot of people will say that is a major setback that could potentially impact a lot of folks. What do you say?
Well, the Human Rights Commission came in place about 60 years ago, and there was a lot of need that was there, which is the reason that they're there anyway. But many of those things that they fought back then are the same things that they're fighting now. So we're not in an era where we're in a post-discriminatory era. We're fighting the same things we did in the 60s. So we need to have departments and agencies in place like that to be able to fight for people who may not be able to fight for themselves.
I know a listening tour is going to be coming up with you and a lot of your colleagues. Why is this needed? Why do you need to hear from the community? Why is this an opportunity for them to have their voices heard by those who can effectively make change?
Yes, so the Tennessee Black Caucus of State Legislators, we are kicking off our annual listening tour across our state. We're going to start here in Memphis, June 25th at 5 o'clock at the Civil Rights Museum, because Memphis is not only the birthplace of so many great things, it's also a good starting point to hear the needs, the concerns, the ideas of people across our state. And I think we should start west and work our way east, because Memphis is the best place, so we want to start it at the best place.
An interesting conversation there, and dates for the tour are still being decided. Once they're finalized, you can find more information on the Tennessee Black Caucus of State Legislators Facebook page.